Yeah, my name is Karim. Should I say my last name as well? Karim Lahrichi. There's an H in the middle that doesn't serve any practical purpose, but it's there. The mandate is to scale our ability to extract data from websites, various types of websites, various types of data. So let's say 10 years ago when I started using machine learning, because machine learning is one subset of AI, it meant having a training data set and a testing data set and teaching the machine to predict what it saw in the testing data set. Versus nowadays, most of us use AI without having to have like a data set on hand, because those the new base models are so big and have been pre-trained on such big data that you don't need necessarily to give them additional data unless you want to fine-tune them on very specific use cases. For example, just an anecdote that I think can help us understand the difference. When I was at Intact Insurance, I remember being asked by customer service agents during a presentation, hey, is AI going to replace our jobs? And at the time, we were working on NLP stuff, natural language understanding. And I knew for a fact that we were not even close to humans being replaced. So I was like, don't worry, machine learning / AI is just here to help make your job easier, etc., which is, I think, a discourse that a lot of people still have, but I think it's just the politically correct version of the truth. Because the truth is, today, AI is very close to replacing a lot of the tasks that we humans do on a daily basis, especially those tasks that have some kind of repetition in them. So you do a certain task and you repeat it, just different variations. And the truth is, there's not that much that we do on a daily basis that is very unique to us. Most of the time, there's somebody else somewhere on the planet doing the exact same thing or solving a slightly different variation of the same problem. And now with AI being trained on worldwide data, it means it has seen that problem before, and so they can do it for you. I think distribution is going to be a big factor. So the business model is going to be very important. You don't want to be in the way of the very big AI companies. That's a very bad place to be. So you want to be so you don't want to be broad too much. I think you want to be deep with your customers. So being able to really understand their specific needs and solve those specific needs with AI 100% of the way, not 80% of the way, I think that's going to be a big differentiator. I think it still matters. I think it might matter even more in the future once Google starts to be pissed off that people are training on their data. Google, Reddit, Facebook, Meta, etc. We might go into a less open world, which is like the equivalent of the tariffs that are happening today. Maybe they will happen online, where if I have something that is the source of my moat, and now I'm giving it for free for competitors, I might want to start locking it down, make it harder for AIs to access it, maybe validate that it is really humans accessing my data even more. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I don't see how it would not happen, because otherwise your business dies. So I was just talking with Blake, and he said he doesn't use Google that much anymore. He uses Perplexity, but Perplexity uses Google. So Google is allowing a competitor to take their business. So so if you think about how AI is used generally speaking, and then I'll zoom into how we use it at depth, which will fit in the same pattern. Typically, people use AI in the business world in two different ways, I think. The first one is when you use AI to accomplish certain tasks for you. So among all the things you have to do, there are tasks that you can delegate to AI. So for example, you can have an agent that goes and reads your emails and summarize them for you. That's one example of a task that you could ask from AI. And at Deck, what we have to do is extract data from a website, right? That website has a structure. So we have existing code base that navigates that structure of the website. But inside that navigation, or as it happens, we're delegating certain tasks to AI. So for example, instead of coding how we click, let's say on a link, we might just ask AI, okay, now that you're on this page, that we brought you to this page, now click on an element that looks like XYZ, right? So as opposed to having to code that piece of the puzzle, we delegate it to AI. So it's like we're programming with AI, where the the human programmers, let's say, set the structure of the overall program, but inside that structure, you delegate tasks to different AI agents. So that's the first way. The second way, which is ongoing, is even the program itself can come from AI once you have shown it kind of what you're looking for. And so the AI itself can write the script now, and within that script, delegate to other sub-agents the various smaller tasks. So there's the real-time AI, which executes the tasks in real time that you asked it to do. And then there's the kind of like more programming AI that produces the script. So very similar to, I don't know if you've heard about tools like Cursor and Windsurf and things like that writes code for you. So that's for sure the future, where most people will not be coding themselves, but they will be checking code that was produced by AI, testing it, and then pushing it into production. So that's the bigger way of using AI. If you think about what the customer wants, they want, typically they want accuracy and speed. Accuracy, I don't think, well, you can have more at scale testing with AI. So you can spawn different AIs that could validate, let's say, whatever you already have. You can have an AI go and try to scrape, do a different version of it, and you can validate that you get a similar answer. But really, it's the speed from the time of the request to having the end product that you were looking for. That's where AI changes the game, because even for the best programmer, it might take an hour, let's say, to implement the typical request that we get. Whereas with AI, it's basically a matter of minutes, and you have the product that you were looking for. Like operating the engine versus building the engine. Yeah. Well, the question is timely because we are in that transition, basically. We have been in operating mode for, I think, about 3 months now. We also needed to understand what engine needs to be built. So the whole conversation about website structures, how variable they are they really that unique, or are there sub-patterns? All that stuff, I think we needed to do it ourselves to even understand it and classify things correctly. Now that the classification has been done, it's much easier to tell the AI, hey, you're going to get one of these patterns, and here are some hints and tips for each. Now go ahead and build, or let's say operate the engine yourself, right? So I would say now we're about well, me personally, I'm transitioning pretty drastically into building the engine. So I'm trying to set, as we discussed before, the standards and the processes for operating the engine, so I don't have to worry about it too much going forward. Because for exponential scaling, it will take building the engine that will build the engine that will build the engine, right? So we are currently in utility vertical. We can solve the engine for that, and then we can build an engine that will solve, or that will, we can build an engine that will build an engine that will solve that. But to solve all verticals, it will take one additional layer of abstraction, right? So it's all about going up in layers of abstractions, but you have to go up only after you have solidified the foundation that or the layer that you were working on previously. My hope is that we can have, or the approach that we could take is, one way to think about it is we could alternate between the operating and the building, because if we see it as layers, then the idea would be we build this layer and we start by operating a layer to understand it well. Then hopefully we have AI operating that layer, and we can move to the next one and be in build mode. So currently, I feel like we have a solid foundation for scrapers in the utility vertical. So I'm not anymore even trying to operate that layer actively, or let's say another way to say it is, I'm actively trying to extract myself from the operational mode, because I find it very hard to do both at the same time. When you're in building mode, you need more mind space and you need more wandering. And when you're operating, you need to be more laser focused. So it's like the aperture is different when you're building this operating. There's an argument to be made that we need much more than that if we are to fulfill the AI-driven ambition of where we want to go. So that's a very interesting topic, and it might be edited out, because I do think about it. Are we approaching our own business the old-fashioned way, the SaaS way, which is, customer by customer and volume is doubling. Oh, wow, it's unbelievable. Versus I see people creating apps in 5 hours and they scale to 100K MMR because nothing happens, just because you feel like it or just because you want it. Things happen when they have to happen. And so the question that I sometimes ask myself is, how do we push that baby out, like the other one, the AI-driven baby? And I know YG has this top of mind and he's actually working on it. I think the initial ambition that we all had was to get there as fast as possible. So I am actively trying to get there. We should all be aligned that, we have to get there as fast as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a linear story. And who's interested in a linear story anymore? It's not what we're here for. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that's what AI means for Deck, is to find the path to that exponential story that we're looking for. So it's almost like the SaaS business is the mother and the AI business is the child, but we're really looking for the child. So I was discussing this morning with Blake about our competitors and the space in general, and it seems like quality and speed are not customers are not necessarily very satisfied. And I think AI can come to the rescue, basically. Because when you have tens of thousands of PDFs and CSVs to download, and you have to be accurate 100% of the time. So you have two choices. You can hire armies of people, but then what's the business model and how is that sustainable? Or you have to cut corners, and then quality takes a hit or delivery takes a hit. So that's where AI can come in and change the game, in my opinion. We're already doing it. Currently, we're using AI to speed up the time that it takes us to scrape a website. So we go from, let's say, a day or two to an hour or two. And then actually this afternoon, I'm giving a presentation to how to do it in 5 to 10 minutes, as long as you know what kind of structure of website you're getting. So currently AI is speeding up the process. Slowly, we're going to have AI just take over the process. And with very minimal human intervention, we can have AI do the job for us. Yeah. Even though we're doing very well compared to where we started, we're doing extremely well. But compared to where we want to go, we still haven't. We're behind. Yeah, we're in the the second degree derivative is not where it should be. It's the rate of change of the change. I like that one we have. Comfort breeds complacency. So obviously, the more money that comes in, the more comfortable we feel, which is normal. But we should be feeling uncomfortable versus the target that we have, let's say, on a 1 year to 2 year. Nowadays, feels like a very long time frame. So if we say we've doubled recently, and then we look, let's say, 2 or 3 months in the future, and we're still only doubling so early in our adventure, it means maybe we have not found the secret sauce. I think it helps if you work in AI. I think it's even probably preferable if you don't come from a programming background, or if you have a more mathy background. If you've been a mathematics enthusiast, you know that like a lot of mathematics is about regrouping different things into one category and then treating that entire category as one. So one belief that I had or we had a tough time challenging is that every website is unique. That has been, in my opinion, proven to be wrong as of today.
Has the team, has the most senior elements of the team updated their beliefs on that, you think, or not yet?
I think at some point you have to when the evidence is out there. But based on the concept itself, actually, the more junior you were, the more obvious it appeared to you that, oh, okay, these are not unique structures. It's the same structure with different colors, different things here and there, but fundamentally it's the same number. So you remember when we learned math, and you do like a math operation and you see the same number, and then you say, I factorize the number out. It's the same thing. Is you see different examples, but they are just variations of the same structure. So it's the same number with different colors or different. The problem is that you're always going to find that AI makes mistakes, or there are these edge cases where, but that's okay. We can solve the 80% to 100% degree of quality, and then we can keep the 20% as edge cases and either treat them manually or maybe find other solutions for them. But programmers, I think, are used to think deterministically. So they expect I have a program, it should run the same way every time. But AI doesn't run the same way. It's always probabilistic. So that's a bit of a challenge. And the perfectionist mindset also is very typical too with engineers.
Yeah.
And that's something that is good. With AI, sometimes it's a bit challenging. Yeah. I feel that the team is now has more courage or has more confidence that, okay, we don't know how we're going to solve this challenge. I think we had that conversation. We have this challenge coming. We have tools and like weapons. It's not entirely clear to us exactly how we will climb this mountain, but we think we will climb it one way or another. So this reminds me, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and there was this interview of Jeff Bezos, and he's like, one thing that stood out is how optimistic he has always been. And he said in his family, non-optimism was not allowed or was looked down. It's hard to imagine like a startup or an entrepreneur succeeding while not being optimistic and while not feeling good about it. So I think that's where the 100x can come in. And enthusiasm, I find, is just basically strong energy. So it's energy that penetrates, and then energy that is more shooting a little bit like a weapon that is not well handled or not well manned. Yeah, so we have a big launch coming actually, which means thousands of sources to scrape, and I'm actually just finishing or adding the final touches to the AI that would be able hopefully to handle the volume in production. That's by far the most exciting thing that I'm presenting this afternoon to the team. So we have 2 AIs that we're working on: the real-time AI, which will in real time receive a source, look at each web page, and try to solve that web page. So yeah, that's the